as we begin to move into the time of meditation, imagine that light that each of us is, that we are beaming from your heart, filling up your body. And take a breath into that light. We are light. For we are part of that creative process. In the beginning was the Word. We're part of that process of creation. Genesis tells us that God said, "Let there be light," and there was. And God is eternal. And we are light, and so we are eternal beings also. So breathe that into your very beingness. And weave that connection between our spiritual identity and our physical identity as human beings. And let the light that we are be the bonding factor, that creative process, as we move into the sacred and the holy silence. And as you begin to bring your awareness back into this room, to this time, and this place, feel the light that you are radiating outside of your body. Radiating such that it's touching your neighbor. Radiating such that it's moving and filling up this room, the collective lights that we are, the beings of light that we are, that our light is extending and filling up this room, and then moving outside the walls of this room, across the city of Myrtle Beach, across the nation, across the ocean, till collectively and eventually it comes back to touch and circle the globe and extend into the universe. For we are ever expanding and eternal beings. And feel the power and the presence of that light, that creative process that lives in us. And as you do that, see and envision from your heart space peace in the world. And then slowly, if you will, open your eyes and turn to your neighbor and say, "You are the light of the world." And turn to another neighbor and say, "You are the light of the world." You are the light of the world. That's good. Yes, for as the light of the world, we are that creative process. And we do bring peace. I'm going to talk about making friends with fear today. Did you ever read Where the Wild Things Are? You know that book is like 30 years old? I'm so surprised. Because I remember reading it and loving it. So when it was 30 years old, I was like, oh my goodness. Because I went back and looked it up and I was playing with this image. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be talking to you about one of my favorite ideas, making friends with fear. How many of you guys are friends with your fear? Oh, I got some hands, yay! Yay! It seems a little contradictory, doesn't it? Friends and fear, those two words going in the same line. 5 of them, basically, and fear is one of them. But one of the reasons I talk and teach about making friends with fear is because when I am in fear, when I'm in that consciousness of fear, when I'm in the energy of fear, I find myself being far more judgmental than when I'm not in the energy of fear. Have you guys ever had that experience? When I'm in the energy of fear, I find myself avoiding things, avoiding people, resisting. Is that your experience too? But when I'm in the willingness to make friends with my fear, I'm much less judgmental because I'm living more in the energy of love. When I'm willing to make friends with my fear as it comes up, I'm willing to face that fear and go, wow, I wonder where this is coming from. And I know from principle that when things are coming up, they're coming up to be healed. So there's a part of me that goes, oh no, and there's a part of me that says, hallelujah. So I have differing experiences, yet I am learning. Because we teach so often what we need to learn. I am learning how to, when I get scared, celebrate the fact that I'm feeling scared. And when I'm in the grips of fear, how do I make the shift so that I'm no longer avoiding and judging? Because when I'm scared, I can look at the people I love the most, and I can be totally paranoid and think, oh, they're out to get me, or they're not respecting me, or whatever it is that I might be doing. But when I'm not feeling fear, there's a sense of love and blessing, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm the luckiest person in the world. I'm very blessed. So it's amazing what a shift of energies can do. And we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So I don't want to get rid of fear. I want to learn how to take it and celebrate it and use it and be friendly with it, so that when the grip of fear comes up in my life, when something happens, and you know how you're feeling really great and then something happens, I want to be able to move easily and be friendly with it. I want to be able to go, oh, that's just fear. I'm friends with fear, and I know lots of strategies to make the shift, and I can even have some fun with fear. Can you imagine that? Those of you who are friendly with your fear may be able to imagine that. What kinds of things scare you? What kind of things scare you?
When you make the person at the red light mad and he gets out of the vehicle and he's I hate that when that happens. And immediately my heart starts doing this and I say, should I get out and try to kick his...
Yeah.
Or else am I going to get my kick?
I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I hate that.
I can say I've never had that happen, but I have had some people honk at me before if I'm not going as fast as they think I should go. What other kinds of things?
I had an appointment the other day with somebody I never met before, and I was very afraid to go upstairs and meet the person.
Yeah, so afraid of meeting a new person. That's great. Let's see. And then,
Poor mental or physical health.
poor mental or physical health.
Trying some new things.
Yeah, trying some new things. Have you noticed as I've gotten older, it gets a little more scary trying a new thing? I've wanted to sail for a long time, and I had the opportunity in Maui to go sailing one time. I was visiting Maui from Honolulu, and I thought, oh, I'm so excited. And the whole time I was noticing my thoughts. What if I fell overboard? You know, crazy thoughts, because I was trying something new. So trying something new definitely will bring up fear for us quite often. All of the things that you guys mentioned. I was curious, so I went to Google. I love Google. And I thought, I'm going to find out what the 10 top fears are. What I discovered were that Google differentiates between specified fears and unspecified fears. So the top 3, I won't bore you with the top 10 of each, but the top 3 specified fears are things like snakes, public speaking, and heights. An unspecified fear were fear of failure first, death, and rejection. So I was fascinated by that. And so I kept looking. Now, if you Google a lot of different places for this, you'll find different fears. But those 3 fears, or those 6 fears, actually came up eventually across everything. I want to talk to you a little bit about fear and tell you a story that comes from from Matthew in the Christian scripture about fear. It's about the story of walking on water. Do you guys know that story at all? Well, that story about walking on water occurs right after the story of the 5 loaves and the fishes, where Jesus takes the loaves and the fishes and he multiplies the fishes and he multiplies the loaves and he feeds what's recorded as 5,000 people. So this has just happened. They finish the meal and Jesus tells his disciples, there's a boat down there, take it across the lake and I'll catch up with you later. I'm going to the mountain to pray. So Jesus goes on the mountain and the disciples get on the boat and they start crossing the sea. And while they're crossing the sea, a storm comes up. And they get really scared because there's the wind and the waves. So we know a little bit about this right now, don't we? But there's the wind and the waves. Jesus comes down from the mountain. It's early morning. And he steps onto the lake and he walks across this wind and water that's going on, the waves. And he walks across and he walks out to where the boat is. And the disciples are scared. They're going, oh my gosh, it's a ghost. And Jesus says, calm down, it's just me. And once they recognize it's Jesus, Peter says, hey, I want to do this too. Let me walk too. So here's Peter, gets out of the boat. And Jesus says, come on, meet me. So Peter gets out of the boat, and he takes a step, and he takes a step, and he takes a step, and he's walking on water, just like Jesus is walking on water. And then he looks down. And what do you think happened? He sunk. And he cries out, and Jesus reaches out his hand. And Peter takes Jesus' hand, and what do you think happened next? He comes right back up to the water. So together they walk into the boat. Now, isn't it amazing that here was this huge miracle of multiplying the loaves and the fishes to be able to feed a huge crowd and have food left over. And the disciples, in the next moment, get into the boat, have some wind and waves, and get really scared. And here's Jesus that comes along, and they're frightened of him till they know who he is, which is familiar to us, right? We're frightened of other people until we know who they are. And then here's Peter. Me too, I want to do it too. Can you see yourself in Peter? That would totally be me. I want to walk on water too. And as soon as Peter looked down and saw what he was actually doing, he got scared. And ideas shifted. No longer could he walk on water until he's back in the presence and the connection with Jesus. Now, Peter is the disciple that represents faith. Faith is an amazing quality of spiritual assurance. So when we are living in that spiritual assurance, what happens to fear? It usually disappears. But as soon as we start to see through our intellectual minds, I can't walk on water. Boom, down Peter went. But when Peter came back in connection with Jesus, physically, back to walking on water. Because together they walked to the boat. This is so true of all of us. The boat metaphysically actually represents a conveyance of positive thought. The water represents our unstable minds. So on this boat, where things were unstable, we have Jesus, the I am presence, calming the seas. We have Peter, who's struggling and vacillating with his own faith. I want to do this, I can do this. Oh my gosh, I'm walking on water. Boom, I'm sinking. Do you see yourself in that? I certainly see myself. I get gung-ho, I believe I can do something. I'm feeling the faith and the positivity to do it. and I start to think, I start to doubt, I start to question myself, and my metaphorical walking on water, I begin to sink. And the thing that changes for me is to come back into connection with Spirit, God, whatever you call the God of your being. Is when I come back into that connection, when I truly stand in that consciousness of the I am, fear dissipates. We have basically 4 fear signatures as human beings. And remember, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. They're fight. Many of us know that one. That's when the little kid runs out into the street and the mom is really scared and she grabs him up and he's safe and gets him back to the edge of the lawn and then launches at him. What were you doing? No, fight. Oftentimes, what we think about as anger is actually fear that we mask as anger. So we'll fight. Or some people call it flight or flee. I'm out of here. And we have many ways of fleeing. We can flee and still have our bodies in the room, but our actual attention and our presence is not in the room. Is that familiar for anybody? We can freeze, which is what I was talking with the little girl. We get paralyzed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what action to take. And so we don't take any action because we don't know what action to take. Or we'll go faint, which is more like, oh, tell me again what you said. I know I'm hearing your words. Tell me again what you said. So of these 4, fight, flight, freeze, or faint, which do you think that Jesus did? Not Jesus, excuse me. Which one do you think Peter did while he and Jesus were walking on water? Freeze. Yeah, he froze. As soon as he realized, oh my gosh, I am walking on water, he began to sink. So he let his fear take over. The beautiful thing is the Bible teaches us what to do with these fear signatures. The writer of 1 John says, if we love one another, God dwells deeply within us. And God's love becomes complete in us. Perfect love. And a few verses down, the writer says, there's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. When we are in the consciousness of love, we cannot be in the consciousness of fear. And the writer says, when we are in the consciousness of love, then God dwells deeply within us. Well, God is always within us. We are a spark of divinity. The question is, how much of our divinity are we expressing? God's dwelling within us when we love each other. When we're being with each other in all kinds of situations. When we are the love that holds our arms around somebody who's frightened or sad. We are that consciousness of love. So turn to somebody and say, I love you. And Charles Miller says it this way. First, God is good and all his creations are good. When you get that firmly fixed in your mind, you're bound to demonstrate good, and nothing but good can come into your world. When we stand in that consciousness of love, when we recognize our fear signatures, we all have all 4 of them, but they're unique to, there's 1 or 2 that's unique to us. My tendency is to freeze and then go faint. That's what I do. I don't know where I learned it. I probably learned it at home. I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where I walked outside the side door of our garage. I was going to put something out there, and I opened the door, and I screamed. And my partner Mindy knew immediately what had happened. There was a little black snake outside the door, and I screamed, and I froze, but I didn't have the sense to close the door. And I just stood there, and she came out of the house, and she didn't laugh at me, which I'm very grateful for. And she said, oh, you must have seen a snake. And she goes over and looks at it and says, it's really pretty. And I was standing in the garage, so I knew enough to move. So I got myself moving. And she's like, yeah, go ahead, wiggle, make some bigger motions. And so she supported me in my fear, but it was instantaneous. Snake, scream, freeze, and move. Fear is often an unconscious thing. I didn't expect to see the snake. I'm sure the snake didn't expect me to walk out either. And I had the sense later that probably scared the snake as much as the snake scared me. But when I was growing up, my mother was definitely afraid of snakes. So I probably picked that fear up from her. We learn what we live. And oftentimes, as we're young, we're picking up some ideas about what's frightening, what's scary. And we're not even recognizing that we're picking those fears up. We also learn our fear signatures. My mother went to fight first. My dad went to freeze first. And so I learned how to go to freeze or fight. I don't do fight so much. I've changed a lot of that consciousness for myself. But I learned how to freeze, and I froze, but I've also learned how to move myself through that process. And the more I recognize who and what I am, that I am a spiritual being that's having a human experience, the more I learn to pour that humanness and embrace that humanness into my life while expanding that spiritualness in my life, the things that used to frighten me are much less scary. So the more that I'm expanding that spiritual presence that I truly am, what I truly am, the things that are the human part of me, instead of trying to get rid of, I can simply embrace. I can learn to have fun with them. I can learn to wiggle. I can learn to dance. I can learn to sing when I'm scared. I can learn to simply speak it out. Oh, I've noticed I felt scared. When I do that, I allow myself to come back into alignment with God, the God of my being. Just as Jesus reached out his hand to Peter, and as soon as there was contact, and in this case, physical contact, in my case, that spiritual contact, that spiritual awareness, the raising of my own consciousness, as soon as I do that, I'm back to walking on water. As soon as I did that, I could actually think, oh, I scared the snake as much as the snake scared me. I could appreciate what black snakes do and their value in the world. And I haven't gone out that side door again. But at least I can have this appreciation for them. And that's true in many ways. One of my closest friends in Honolulu was on the mainland here this summer, and she traveled from California to New Jersey, all the way across. She and her husband traveled. And she was talking to me yesterday, and she said, it was interesting to see how we were treated. Because she's Hawaiian. She said, I wasn't treated like I was African American. I wasn't treated like I was Hispanic. But people didn't know what to do with me. And so what they did was they withdrew from me until I would say, well, I'm from Hawaii, I'm Hawaiian. And then they were curious. But it's that same thing of, oh, she's new. We don't know quite how to categorize her. So I'm going to be scared of her till I begin to develop some understanding. The beauty of being in a spiritual community is that we can develop that understanding each time we come together. We can get to know each other and see each other through the eyes of love, through the heart of love, knowing that perfect love casts out all fear. And when we stand in love and we look at each other in the eyes, we see from the heart. We see that we are the light of the world. We see that we are part of that creative process. Faith is the perceiving power of the mind, linked with the ability and the power to shape substance. So in more everyday words, that's Mr. Fillmore, more everyday words, the imagination. Imagination coupled with our creative process. Because that power to shape substance is the creative process. It's the light of the world that we've been singing about today. And when we look at people through those eyes of love, with faith, the faith that comes from our heart, not the one that comes from our mind, then we can be in perfect love with each other. Some action steps. I like to call this fact. When I'm willing to face something, then I'm much more likely to release the fear around it. So I'm going to invite you in this moment to think of something that brings up fear for you, that triggers fear for you. So just think about it. And if you will, close your eyes for a moment. And ask yourself the question, what about this situation or this person? What about this thing that I have not fully faced? And listen to the answer that comes forth. What have I not fully faced about this situation, this person, this thing? And let yourself take a few breaths. And this is where the love comes in with the A. What have I not accepted about this situation? Am I in resistance? Am I scared? Do I need to surrender? Do I need to just simply declare, this is what is in this moment? And the C part of the fact, what choice will I make? What do I really want? And sometimes this is the hardest one for all of us. What do I really want? We're often taught that we can't have what we want. We're often taught that what we want is too much. What we want is out of reach. But it's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom of heaven, to give us the desires of our heart. So ask yourself, what do I really want? And you may have to ask over and over, because we've been so well trained as human beings not to necessarily have what we want. What do I want? What do I really want? And when the answer to what I really want, what you really want comes, ask yourself, the T part, the take action. What is the most simplest and pleasurable action step I can take to have what I want? What is the simplest, most pleasurable action step that I can take to have what I want? Where there is no private good. If it's good for you, it's good for all. When it comes from the desires of our heart. And then Charles Fillmore says, I am a child of the absolute good. God is good and I am good. Everything that comes into my life is good. And I am going to have only the good. So when we are willing to shift from fear to love, when we're willing to make friends with our fear so that we can face and accept what's true in our lives, so we can identify what we truly want, and then take a pleasurable, simple action step toward that truth, then we can experience the good that is here for us. Will you affirm this with me together? I am a child of absolute good. God is good and I am good. Everything that comes into my life is good, and I'm going to have only the good. Would you be willing to live in that way, having only the good? Are you willing to affirm that you are created in the image and the likeness of God, therefore you are good? Say it. I'm created in the image and likeness of God, therefore I am Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Namaste.